Man, I used to suffer with so much anxiety. I was so anxious, and I was just surrounded by fake friends, toxic family members, you name it. It was debilitating. And I was definitely not satisfied with my social circles. It wasn't the greatest. And it's taking a toll on my mental health, on my physical health. And yeah, it absolutely sucks. So I did what a lot of us do. I started self-medicating. I started to take Lexapro, which is a anxiety medication. Um, I started to take melatonin. I looked for ways to calm my anxiety, to ease my discomfort. I took calm teas, go to sleep teas.
Sit your behind down, tease.
I mean, every tea you could imagine, your girl was drinking it, okay? Valerian tea, all of it. And I was not getting to the root of the issue. The root of the issue was the people I had around me. But instead of acknowledging it and facing that truth head on, I tried to avoid it. Let me tell you, when you have the wrong people around you, you are attacked from all angles. And let me tell you, I was attacked. And it got to the point where it started to change who I was. I became guarded. I became someone who was afraid to even get close to people or get to know people because I wasn't sure what the outcome would be. And eventually I started to have panic attacks. Okay. I mean, the panic attacks were so massive. I would call the ambulance every other day. Seriously, my heart rate would go from 60 to 160 in just minutes. And I'm not working out, I'm just sitting there watching TV. It was that bad. But when you are around the wrong people, it is physically and mentally exhausting. It's almost as if you are in a jungle and your brain goes into fight or flight mode because that's its job to protect you. And it doesn't know the difference between real danger and false danger. But the sad truth is, if you're around the wrong people, it is dangerous. I will admit this. I almost became addicted with people liking you. It was like a dopamine hit. I wanted people to love who I was and to accept who I was. But in the process of doing that, I started to lose myself, the foundation of what makes me me. I didn't even know who I was anymore. I could look at myself in the mirror and not even know who was staring back at me. I had to make some significant changes in my life. I started to cut people out. And let me tell you, that is a hard thing to do, especially if you've known these people most, if not all of your life. Just imagine cutting someone out of your life that you've known since you were a child, or someone you've known since you were 14 years old. I mean, it becomes part of your identity. So pretty much I did like this massive declutter when it came to my social circle, and it was lonely. It became extremely, extremely lonely. I mean, you're talking to someone who would just call people for the sake of having someone to talk to, just so I didn't have to sit in silence. I didn't want to hear myself think. The fear of facing my past, the fear of facing me, the fear of being in my own company. It was scary. So years ago, when I was in my early 20s, let me tell you, friends, family, popularity was very important to me. My parents used to joke all the time about stray cats. They would call the people I would bring to the house stray cats.
Where's she coming from with these stray cats? She don't even know them.
And I would just come home. I would meet people along the way, whether it's on the bus, whether it's on the train, whether it's in the store. And I would bring them home and say, hey, mom, here's my friend. And I only knew them for like 20 minutes. Like, no exaggeration. Only knew them for 20 minutes, but I was already giving them the title of a friend and inviting them into my world, into my safe space. There was no boundary there. I would even leave people in my room that I just met like 30 minutes ago. Like, hey, sit down. I'm going to go get you some tea. And let me tell you, I was robbed, okay? So much has happened to me over the years. I was so naive, right? To the idea that there are really mean people in the world and everything was sunshine and roses. And I just loved the idea of having people and being surrounded by people until it wasn't a great idea. At least not that drastic. Studies have proven that human connection is a basic human need. We all need it for our survival, right? But that connection should be meaningful, it should be valuable, and it should enhance who you are as a person. So pretty much what I'm saying is quality over quantity matters most. But when you're in your early 20s, when you're a high schooler and you're just graduating and you're starting college, that's not what matters to you. You love the thrill of having people around and having parties to go to. I mean, that's the excitement of the entire thing, right? You're getting to know yourself and you're searching for where you belong, but it becomes an issue when you have to change who you are in order to fit in. So one thing I would say was the best part of this transition from being surrounded by so many people to being lonely and being alone is that you learn to value you and your own company. And trust me, it sounds easier than what it really is. It really wasn't that easy. It was hard. It was really hard being alone. And I don't want to paint this picture that everyone around me was toxic. That's not true. I had some great friends. I had some great family members. But the reality is, negative people can take a massive hit on you as an individual, on your body, on your soul, on everything that makes you you. It is that damaging. So quite often when you are desperate for friendship and for connection, you normalize toxic behaviors. You say, oh, it's okay that she did this to me. I'll forgive her. It's okay that she's going to do this to me next week. It's okay that she's this way. No, it's not okay. We need to start setting boundaries. And it was hard for me to learn that harsh truth. So I will admit, I am definitely the black sheep in the family. I'm the outsider. I'm the outcast. I'm the lone wolf. And what I mean by that is I was always different. I was always set apart. I have cousins who cut me off completely because they didn't want to be around me. They didn't want to talk to me because I was different, right? And it was hard for me to fit in absolutely anywhere. So that desperation of belonging definitely stems from my starting point. So let me give you a little bit of a backstory. I'm going to fast forward a little bit and rewind a little bit. So I got married in my early 20s, became a military spouse, and instantly I thought, okay, I'm leaving home, so I got to start over. I got to build new community, right? So I did things like host Bible studies, host meetups, host play dates, right? And epic fail, okay? Epic fail. I found myself trying to conform into something that I wasn't in order to receive acceptance. Remember, this is a Brooklyn, New York girl, okay, from the hood, right? And I'm trying to find my place outside of my comfort zone. I am catapulted now in California, one of the most racist parts of California, Santee, okay? So let's put that all together, right? And here I am, a black military spouse, right? And let me be honest with you. I didn't fit in with black social circles. I didn't even fit in with white social circles. It just reminded me of when I was reading the book Becoming by Michelle Obama. And she said, I didn't fit in anywhere. They said I spoke too proper and I was too white for black social circles. And I was too black for white social circles. So I didn't fit in anywhere. And when I read that part in her book, I said, oh my God, I am heard. Somebody gets it. Because that was my story. That was my experience. I really didn't fit in anywhere. And sadly, you try to conform or mask or shrink yourself in order for others to be like, okay, I think I can handle her. I think I like her. Until you don't. It gets to the point where you start not liking yourself. And let me tell you, it wasn't easier in the hood either. I was also different. I mean, I was the girl who would spend money, and I was excited spending money and buying books at the bookstore. I looked forward to the next book that was going to drop from Sister Soldier or whoever it was that was my favorite author at the time, while everybody else was waiting online for the new Jordans, okay? And listening to and learning all the Biggie lyrics, right? And I was by myself. I was the different one. I was the oddball. You're about to spend your Saturday going to the library? Yeah. Oh, you're about to go to the museum? Hell yeah. Actually, I got a whole museum pass. Oh, I actually did. I had a museum pass where I was able to hop around and go to different museums. Yeah, that was me. I'm your girl. If you're a museum girl, if you're the type of girl that likes to read, I'm your girl. Let's connect. But quite often, people like us who are different, we find ourselves being the oddball in the groups. And sadly, it makes us feel like, okay, what do I have to do to kind of find my place? And unfortunately, many of us pretend that we are something we're not. So I started to push back. I was like, you know what? I don't care what they think about me. I don't care if they don't like me. I don't care if they think that I'm an oddball. I don't care if they think I'm weird. And to be quite honest, sometimes I take a little peek at their little social media pages, their little pages on Facebook or wherever, and I'm like, I thank God you didn't like me. You look like a hot mess, okay? Just a little encouragement for you guys who's watching this. Don't you worry, okay? Let them reject you. Let them treat you like you're weird. It's okay. Being weird is where it's at, okay? Weirdos, the oddball, the one that's left in the back, it is where it's at, okay? Then it hit me. The moment I decided to cut out toxic people, it's when I had the most peace I've ever had in my life. When I stopped having people around me who continued to critique who I was, who continued to find fault in who I was, how I carried myself, the way I spoke, the way I walked, my beliefs, my morals, my values, who I was. The moment I started to remove them, peace came. Let me tell you, peace came. So my addiction to people liking me, my addiction to feeling like I belong went away. I had a new addiction, and that's peace. So the fears I used to have, being guarded, ready for the next insult to be hurled at me, just waiting to try to figure out, okay, how can I angle myself so that way if they say something, if they say something crazy, I'm ready to fight back. If they hurl an insult, do I have a comeback for them? I didn't have to do that anymore. I didn't have to sit there and think about the many ways I can protect myself. You know that feeling when people come to your house and it's time for them to go and you got to walk them out the door. And the moment you close that door and you're like, all right, girl, I'll see you later. And the moment you close that door, you get that knot in your stomach and you just know they're going to be gossiping about you behind your back. That was gone. And we all know that feeling. Like,
we know she fake. We know she ain't real. We know she's a pretender. We know she's not a good person.
But yet we had them around just for the sake of not being alone. You ain't got to feel that no more, girl. It's done. It's over. That becomes part of the past. And the most empowering moment is that you realize they no longer have access to you. My confidence took off. I'm way more sure of myself. I'm able to make videos and be in front of the camera. I'm able to create content. I'm able to be creative. I'm able to thrive as who I am. So self-awareness is all about recognizing and understanding your own thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, pretty much the core of what makes you you, the essence of what makes you who you are. And self-awareness plays a crucial role in your emotional intelligence, right? In personal development and all of the things that cultivate feelings of self-worth, self-value, self-acceptance, all of the above. It also helps you to build positive and healthy relationships around you, including the relationship with yourself. Now, leave in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. I would love to know, in what ways do you feel like you've exercised becoming more self-aware, right? Becoming more in tune with who you are. I would love for you to join the conversation so I don't feel like I'm talking to myself, right? I'm here to build community with other women who are like-minded, who may be facing what I faced when I was in my early 20s, or maybe facing it now in their 30s, right? Now, here's something that I've learned, which helped me discover and become more self-aware. We cannot define who we are based on what other people think about us. Now, remember this, just think hard. Challenge yourself. If you were to ask, let's say 5 people who's closest to you to define you in 5 words, I promise you, you will get completely different answers. The reason for this is because we show up in different ways with different people. Some people bring out the best parts of us, and some people bring out our absolute worst, okay? The absolute worst parts of us, okay? One person might say, oh, you're so kind, you're so gentle, you're so loving. Another person might say, you have such a cold heart, you have a heart of steel, you have such thick skin, you're so aggressive. Another person might say you're so passive. Somebody else might say you're assertive. Somebody might say you're selfish. Somebody else might say you're generous. Because the parts of us that show up quite often is determined by who's around us, our environment. Is it supportive of who we truly are? Is it supportive of us feeling safe enough to be vulnerable, to thrive in this space, to show up authentically? And you also have to be careful with projectors, right? So some people project themselves onto you. I had people tell me all sorts of things about myself, and I was just sitting there like,
Huh?
you know, I even had someone say, "Oh, you're an introvert." Now, you know, you don't even believe that yourself. I love talking to people, right? I'm a social butterfly. My kids, they beg me before we even go in the store, "Mom, please, can you not make friends today so we can like go and get out?" I can't even go to get lip gloss. You know, I can get a shirt and I'm looking at the person next to me. She's a victim now because now I'm going to talk to her.
And I'm like, hey girl, what do you think about this shirt?
Next thing you know, we're friends. We're having a book club together. We're meeting up at the park. That's just who I am. I love people, okay? I'm just over toxic people. And that's why I honor and I enjoy my alone time. I enjoy and I'm content with loneliness in ways that I never was before. So once I started to cut toxic people out of my life, I was able to become reacquainted with Kim, with who I am. I was able to get to know me. And I realized, I'm like,
Wait, you a dope chick.
I started to enjoy my own company. I no longer had to shrink myself or be something I wasn't in order to fit in. You know, I think back on even times where I had some hard conversations and I was like, man, these people really they don't like me. Wow. It was just something that it hits you so hard that these are not your friends. They just enjoy your company when it's beneficial to them, when it's convenient for them. But the moment you need them, they're nowhere to be found. So that leads to my next part. Stop conforming. Stop conforming. Okay? Don't do it. Don't do it. And don't shy away from the hard conversations. That is how you weed out the bad. Okay? Have the tough conversations now. It is especially important when you're rebuilding your social circle to be true to yourself. Remember, it is okay to be different. That's the best part of you. And you should be comfortable with expressing your beliefs, your opinions, your thoughts, your feelings, all of that. You are now setting the standard for your new reality. Right? You're setting the standard. You're not allowing anyone else to set the standards for you. So now you are creating a circle with those who align with you, those who are walking in the same direction. I remember this Bible scripture that my sister used to always share with me. She would say, "What does light have to do with darkness?" Right? And she would say things like, "How can two walk together unless they agree?" And it made so much sense. And not saying there's anything wrong with having friends who disagree with you or who have different thoughts and values, because we're all different. One of my closest friends is an atheist, okay? And I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. I am a pro-life believer at that. Okay, so you can just imagine how different we are. Yet we support each other in ways that is unmatched, which explains why he wasn't part of the cutoff list. Okay, we've been friends since we were 15. He's one of the best supporters I've ever had. He actually watches all of my videos, likes my videos, shares my videos, even if it's not relating to what he believes. He just wants to see me win. And that's a friend for me. That's a win-win for me. But what I'm meaning is be around people who can accept you for you and be comfortable around you. Okay, some people are intimidated by what makes us different. Why is she so confident in her beliefs? Well, she should be. Okay, so you want to weed out the bad. So eventually I was able to create a group and a social circle and friendships that represented me. I have a melting pot because I am a melting pot. Okay, I come from New York City. I'm used to diversity. Diversity is what makes me happy. I have friends from all ethnicities, all political beliefs, all religious beliefs. I have Muslim friends. I have Republican friends. I have Democratic friends. I have atheist friends. I have pro-life friends. I have pro-choice friends. I mean, I have it all. But what I love about my circle is that we all value and respect each other. We all love each other. We all uplift each other. And I could not have asked for anything better. And the best part is I did not have to conform in order to fit in. So all that time I had alone, I was given the opportunity to get to know me. And there's nothing better than that. I was able to define me without relying on other people and their opinions of me to define who I was. So self-acceptance is a key component to your mental health and your well-being. It teaches you how to embrace your strengths, your weaknesses, your personality traits, absolutely everything that makes you you. It allows you to look at your past experiences without judgment, without severe self-criticism, right? And to look at yourself with loving eyes, a new pair of eyes that you've never had before. And once you discover that through your journey to finding and accepting you for who you are, you realize that you are also worthy of love, true love. You start to let go of unrealistic expectations, right? That you have to be perfect, that you have to perform in order to be loved. No, that all goes out the window. And sadly, it took for me to be absolutely alone. I mean, isolated for me to get to this point. And now, because I had all of that time alone, I was able to fill my cup. And I'm not talking about halfway. I'm not talking about the rim. I'm talking about fill it so much that it's overflowing. And it gives me the ability to flow and pour into others. You want your cup to overflow. You don't want it to be just enough. So when you are healed and you're whole and you're comfortable with your loneliness and you're comfortable with being by yourself and you fully embrace you, now you can take off running. Now you can put yourself in the position as a now healed person to a whole person. And now you can cultivate positive environments and positive connections and positive relationships with other people, embracing what makes them unique because you first embraced yourself. I don't know if you are a believer or not, but as a Christian woman, I did a lot of praying. And when it was hard for me to remove certain people from my life, I had to pray about it. And sometimes, quite often, more often than not, God will remove them for you. Okay. You know, and what I've learned is that sometimes isolation is necessary so God can have his way with you. Sometimes we have too much noise around us. Sometimes we have too many things happening and we have to declutter. And God is like, you know what? I got to clear this space because I need you to hear my voice. And let me tell you, when you get out of that lonely phase, the isolation phase, which was so necessary for your growth, it is intimidating. It is intimidating stepping back out and having to open yourself to a new world, a world of new possibilities, great possibilities, but it is scary, especially if this is all you knew, if toxic relationships was normalized. So now, I will tell you, it was scary for me to be around people who were thriving in life, right? Who were doing well for themselves, who were emotionally healthy and equipped. I was so used to being the one encouraging and people pleasing. And now it's like, I don't have to do that anymore. Now I have people who equally fill my cup. And it was interesting. It was very uncomfortable being invited out for lunch and having someone treat me out for lunch, or, having someone randomly buy me a book because they thought about me and they wanted me to be encouraged, or having people speak life into me, pouring in wisdom. And it was just very hard for me to accept. It was like, whoa, you're coming to my house to help me out and you're not going to go talk about me behind my back? You're encouraging me the same way that I encourage you? Wow, this is healthy. And it took me some time to get used to it. And let me tell you, it is worth it. I am actually about to host a picnic this weekend, and I'm so excited. I'm hosting it for someone who is a best-selling realtor, somebody who's a best-selling author, someone who is actually working on a massive project that they're inviting me on. And it just blows my mind. Like, what is happening? Who are these people? Where did they come from? They were always there. It's just I never made room for them. I never made time for them because I was too busy fighting with people who didn't even have a place in my life. They didn't even belong in the first place. But now that they're gone, I have time to nurture healthy relationships that's allowing me to accelerate and to grow. And we get to do that together. The old me was very uncomfortable with receiving compliments. Even now, I have my moments. And, it's nice. It's nice knowing that there are good people in the world, that we don't have to take a vow to loneliness forever, that we can just go in our little cocoon and come back out when we're ready to blossom like a butterfly. Temporary isolation is necessary for growth. It really is. And it's blessed me. And I want you to know it's going to bless you. And I have a strong feeling that great things are going to come for you. Where you are in your 20s or even in your 30s, growth It's only one direction for you. So if you liked my messaging, if you want to join in on the conversation, please hit that like button, subscribe, share it with your friends so we can all talk together. So take care, stay tuned, and God bless.